This is Chris DeJoseph from Lucha Underground, and you're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio.
You're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio, featuring the interactive interview, courtesy of WrestlingEpicenter.com.
So what you gonna do?
Let me talk to you, dummies.
Oh, yeah.
You're where it's at.
If you're smart like me, you gotta listen.
And if you don't listen to it,
I'll come out of your computer and body slam your ass.
don't be a Melvin.
I will scar you.
Open your third eye.
Woo! It's gonna be cool.
Oh, what a rush.
It's showtime!
We had a lovely conversation.
To the interactive interview. Interactive Wrestling Radio.
The Epicenter.
Believers rejoice. Our time has come. Welcome to another edition of Interactive Wrestling Radio right here on WrestlingEpicenter.com. My name is James Walsh, and of course I speak of the return of Lucha Underground to Rey Network for Season 4, June 13th. Can't wait for this to happen. And to celebrate, we're having on one of the executive co-producers of the show and writers of the show, who's also worked for WWE, Mr. Chris DeJoseph. Hope you guys enjoy this interview. We're going to keep working on other stuff with Lucha Underground as we go forward. If this is your first time joining us, I encourage you to check out WrestlingEpicenter.com. We have the full archives from prior seasons of Lucha Underground on our results section. We also have interviews with a lot of top Lucha Underground stars that are returning for Season 4, including Johnny Mundo, Impact, Taya Valkyrie, Brian the Machine Cage, and so on and so forth. Check it out at WrestlingEpicenter.com. And without any further delay, let's get to this interview with Mr. Chris DeJoseph of Lucha Underground.
This week on the Ryan Morrill's Championship Wrestling Hour for Good Boys, the inaugural matches of the Silver Spotlight Tournament, and in our main event, the zesty one, Manny Lemons takes on the monster, Robert Baines. Check your local listings for time and channel.
Hey, this is Taya Valkyrie, and you're in the Wrestling Epicenter.
Has the past 6 months changed the way you feel about Impact Wrestling? Good. On July 22nd, together, we will make this one matter more.
This is just the beginning.
Our energy will be relentless, our passion tireless. This one is for you. Impact Wrestling proudly presents Slammiversary. Live Sunday, July 22nd from Toronto, only on pay-per-view.
Hola, this is the Wednesday Night Delight, Johnny Mundo, and you're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio.
What in the world is next for Lucha Underground? It's in their DNA. They were born to do this. The epic battle rages on, rages on, rages on.
Lucha Underground, Season 4.
Welcome back to Interactive Wrestling Radio right here on WrestlingEpicenter.com as we're being joined by one of the writers of Lucha Underground. He is Chris DeJoseph. Mr. DeJoseph, are you with me?
I am with you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I got to be honest with you. You might be the only person I interview who will appreciate this. I tried to interview Craig DeGeorge leading into just after Bruno Sammartino's passing because they called the UWF together. And ever since I got told that I was going to be interviewing you, I've kept telling myself, don't say Craig DeGeorge. Don't say Craig DeGeorge. So I got it right. Chris DeJoseph.
Yes, thank you.
All right. You're very welcome. So here we go. Lucha Underground returns June 13th, just a couple of days away, a week from yesterday on the Rey Network. I can't wait for Season 4. What can we expect from Season 4 of Lucha Underground?
Oh, gosh. I think if anything you can expect, well, one thing's for sure, you can expect a new temple due to kind of storyline and everything like that. Lucha Underground has relocated to a new temple, and it's this really cool old ice house. And it creates quite the backdrop for this season and gives us some new and interesting, cool places to explore. I think the other thing you can expect is Lucha Underground to be Lucha Underground, to be the craziest, wildest, most fun, most exciting show about wrestling or wrestling show, whatever you want to call it, on television.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, I love wrestling. I've loved wrestling since I was a little kid. I think by doing my research on you, I can tell that you've done it. You've been a fan your whole life, too. I have had trouble having my kids get involved in wrestling. They don't love it the way that I love it, except for Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground comes on, I can get the whole family sit around the TV and watch. Because what do you think that is? Why do you think that your show speaks to kids and kids at heart as much as it does?
Well, I think first of all, it's fun, and
Right.
and the other thing is, I don't think we take ourselves too overly seriously, but almost by taking ourselves too seriously, we don't take ourselves so seriously. If that makes any sense. But at the same time, I also think we offer a lot of really cool characters. I mean, especially for kids, like to see Drago, like a man dragon with nunchucks, or like, I mean, these characters are superheroes. They're larger than life, and I think with kind of the storylines, it's equivalent to like, watching a Marvel movie or any kind of cool action movie. And I think we've created some really cool heroes and villains on this show that fans can kind of get behind. It's like watching a living comic book, really, and I think that's kind of the appeal to it. You're not the first person who's told me that the whole family sits down and watch Lucha Underground, and to me that makes me pretty happy. That you can kind of get lost in Lucha Underground for an hour every week. That's another thing. I think not being like a 3-hour show or 2-hour show, like families and people, they have only so much time in their day. And, if you're going to invest in something, you want it to be good, to be compelling, to kind of want you wanting more, and to not take too much of your day. People have so much going on. There's so much other programming out there that, if you can get lost in our world for an hour and then move on and wait till next week and be excited about it, then I think that's a good thing.
Very cool, very cool. Now, those who know you know that you are a former WWE employee as well. As myself,
Yep.
I can remember sitting at the kitchen table. I had a conversation with my family. They're saying, "What do you want to do with your life?" And I said, it's kind of like a scene out of Seinfeld where George says, "Well, I like sports. I can be a sportscaster." No, but I said, I love wrestling. I want to do something in wrestling, anything in wrestling. And they looked at me like I was insane. It sounds to me like you had pretty much the same experience. What was your journey to get into the World Wrestling Entertainment?
Well, gosh, I mean, I when I first came out of school, I really wanted to be an actor, and then I found that was a kind of difficult route to go about it. And I had this kind of talk with my family, like, you got to figure out something to do. You need something that's going to pay the bills. Like, what do you like? And when I told them, I was like, well, you have to set a goal for yourself or something like that. And I said, well, I want to go work in professional wrestling. I want to go work for the WWE was my first goal. My second goal was to become important in the WWE in some facet. And my third was to learn everything I could and then go do something else with all those things that I learned. So in a way, I kind of achieved all three. One with, I got my job at WWE. I started as an intern. I got coffee every day. I just tried to take in every bit of information I could. Then I worked in production in the international TV, cutting episodes and doing things like that. And then I had the opportunity to join the creative team where I started as an assistant and worked my way all the way to the top, to the point where I was meeting with Vince McMahon every day. And then after my time ended there, I came to California. I worked on some other productions and I was doing some reality TV. And by some crazy chance, the greatest reality TV producer in the world, Mark Burnett, wanted to make a Lucha Libre show with Robert Rodriguez. And boom, it just fell into my lap in a way, and was like the perfect thing for me. So I'm super excited that I had that opportunity, and I think it's been one hell of a ride.
It really has, and like I said, you guys are producing some great stuff over at Lucha Underground, and I know you were one of the writers for SmackDown. How does the process work differently for Lucha Underground than having to go through let's call it the chain of command of WWE?
Yeah. Well, first of all, with Lucha Underground, I don't necessarily need to go through so many people. Like at the WWE, when you write a show, you sit there, you write a show, then you got to go pitch it to Vince. You pitch it to Vince, then you go make your changes. Then you get on an airplane. On that airplane, people have other ideas, and things change again. Then you get to the arena, and you have a meeting with all the agents and producers, and then they have their input. And by the end of the day, what you kind of started with no longer really exists too much. Where in this process, we have some planning done in advance. Obviously, we have to make some changes on the fly. There are injuries in wrestling. There are things that aren't necessarily working that you need to change, but it's good because we get the opportunity to present what we're doing creatively. Any tweaks that are made then, and then we can move on and we know exactly what we have. There's a lot of trust between everybody, and everybody is kind of on the same page with the kind of show we're making. We attempt to make Lucha Underground in the image of Robert Rodriguez and how he would do it every day. I mean, obviously he can't be there every day. He's a busy man, but we try every day when we work on the show. We think, what would Robert do, and we try to make that happen.
How hands-on has he been, Robert Rodriguez, in the production of Lucha?
How what?
How hands-on?
I'm sorry. Oh, I think very hands-on. He watches everything. He loves certain characters. He's a very integral part of the show, and it's especially great to get his input, especially when he likes something.
I know they showed a promo for Explosion Jones, and Danny Trejo was sitting there with a sticker for Lucha Underground on his shirt, and I thought that was just awesome to see. Is there any celebrities that you found to be celebrities, to be fans of Lucha Underground that you didn't expect to be fans of Lucha Underground?
Oh, gosh. Celebrities that are fans of Lucha Underground. Matt Eisman from Ninja Warrior. He's a big Lucha Underground fan. He comes to the temple. Vanilla Ice came to the temple, which I was like, holy cow, Vanilla Ice is here. And he just sat in a regular seat with everybody. He didn't ask for any special treatment. He just wanted to come watch Lucha Underground. There's some of the Lakers I know are fans. It's really kind of crazy to see some of the guys from Metallica. It's nuts how many people out there have watched Lucha Underground and are into it. It's pretty wild.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So we already discussed the change of venue. David, former WCW champion David Arquette.
Yeah, he came he sat in our crowd.
Awesome. At least you didn't make him champion, though. That's a good decision there.
Yeah.
All right. So you already discussed the change of venue. I mean, when you first hear it as a fan, you think, "Oh man, is this going to work in a different arena, a different look?" Obviously, storylines presented themselves in such a way that it made sense to do so. How does the new venue look and compare to the original temple?
Well, I mean, one good thing is it's kind of like a new playground, There's a whole bunch of different rides to go on, and it's kind of a different layout, different scenario, and some of the places where we could do vignettes were easier and were cool, really cool, crazy looking sets, and I think it's exciting. It's like a fresh coat of paint, and sometimes things can get stale in the same place, and you kind of start to run out of some things you can do there. So in a way, it was like a breath of fresh air to go there because we really got to try some new things and do some new things, and that's fun. That's fun.
Very cool. So I have to ask you a couple tough ones, and then we'll let you go because I know you got a few more of these to do today.
Oh yeah,
my question was
going to be on the tough one.
All right, well, let's hear it. Lucha Underground Season 3. There was a hiatus in the middle that didn't seem to be planned for, and it kind of, I don't know, maybe deflated things a little bit. As a writer, did you know that was going to happen, and how did you feel about the hiatus in the middle of Season 3?
Oh, gosh, I mean, I did not know that was going to happen when we originally wrote it. But it is what it is, and look, we're partners in making this thing happen, and it was a decision for the network. They had some other programming, I think, coming out, so I think it made sense for them. And I think it's fine. Would I've liked it all to air right in a row, 40 episodes straight? Sure, but I think it was cool. We picked the perfect point to kind of take the mid-season break. And to be honest, I don't think we really lost anybody when we came back, and we actually, I think, gained people watching. So,
right.
It's a good thing. It was kind of like 2 little seasons. It was 40 episodes, so kind of splitting up the seasons made a little bit of sense. And it is what it is.
Very cool. Any idea if that's going to happen again with season 4, or is it going to be straight through this time around?
Oh God, as far as I know, it's going to be straight through. But yeah, I think it will be.
All right. Very cool. All
Don't
right.
quote me on that.
So you mentioned Drago, you mentioned Pentagon. You got a lot of guys that are now appearing for another wrestling promotion. In fact, the way that wrestling works now, you got a couple of those guys are appearing for multiple wrestling promotions that are also on television.
Yeah.
Do you guys just treat it like a entity unto itself, that Lucha Underground is an entity unto itself? Obviously, because it's recorded, you can't really address the fact that other stuff was happening, but do you treat it like this is us and everything else is everything else?
The way we've always looked at Lucha Underground is that Lucha Underground is its own universe. It's its own world. I think in some of those, like Impact and, or WWE or wherever, those kind of take place in, like, the real world, not Lucha Underground world. And I think Lucha Underground takes place in its own world where gods are coming back to the earth. They're trying to destroy these 7 tribes. Like, I think we take it as that. But we still mention some things that are happening in the real world, but I think Lucha Underground takes place in its own universe.
Very cool. And you guys have filmed it. I'll leave you off with this because I know you got a few more to do. Like I said, one of the things that I always loved about Lucha Underground, I was there at a live event, never at the temple, either old or new, is the Believers. The Believers are what kind of drives the show, almost in the way that the ECW crowd is what made ECW great. The Believers in season 4, are they back in full force?
Oh, yeah, they are back and better than ever. I think you hit the nail on the head. If anything, this show it's about the Believers, and they are a character in themselves in this show. And they brought. It doesn't matter where the temple is. I think the Believers will always bring their character in, and don't worry, they let us know it. They're so much fun, and I am excited for the Believers who weren't able to go to the temple to have fun along with them when they get to watch this on June 13th.
Absolutely. Hey, before I let you go, can I just ask for one little favor from you?
Sure.
Can I just ask for a station ID saying this is Chris DeJoseph and you're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio?
Okay. So let me know when.
All right. I'll count you down in the Wayne's World style. We'll do that in 5, 4, 3, 2.
This is Chris DeJoseph from Lucha Underground. Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. Got to try again. What's the show again? Sorry.
Let's go with, it's easier to remember Wrestling Epicenter. That's the name of our site. So we'll just go with Wrestling Epicenter. Does that sound good?
No, give me the full one. I'll get it right.
All right. Interactive Wrestling Radio.
Okay. Let me know.
All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
This is Chris DeJoseph from Lucha Underground, and you're listening to Interactive Wrestling Radio.
Boom, you nailed it. First take. or second, anyway. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me.
No, thank you so much. It was fun, and thank you for supporting the show. I really appreciate it.
This is the Wrestling Epicenter. For over 15 years, we've brought you the top names in professional wrestling for exclusive interviews. Everybody you see here has been interviewed by our site. But we're more than just interviews. So be sure and check out WrestlingEpicenter.com for news, results, information, and of course our store. WrestlingEpicenter.com, your #1 source for wrestling information.